Cyber warfare is the fifth element of war. So before there were only four elements with air, sea, land and nuclear. And now cyber has become the fifth element of warfare. Whether it's me and you clicking on an email when we get home, nobody is safe anymore.
And there's lots of people out there that are trying to steal your data or compromise your networks to take your website offline.
The definition of war, regardless of where you search for it, mentions a physical conflict that implies armed forces fighting against each other. But in today's climate, conventional warfare is being replaced by something quiet, secretive, and more elaborate, making use of technology and data in order to cause equal or possibly greater harm than armed violence.
We are becoming so connected. Everything that we do, we're connected to the internet, whether that's with our phone, with our laptops or tablets.
Cybersecurity attack is a concerted attack to try and infiltrate people's IT and operating systems, to try and manipulate data, to steal data, and to obviously use it in a fraudulent manner.
We know that those on the dark web are constantly upgrading their weapon systems, if you like, upgrading their ability to attack us. So any firewall or any protection system is never going to be 100% proof. That's why we say always have an incident response plan. There's no such thing as 100% protection. But how do you quantify that?
One of the typical challenges with cybersecurity is an expense. It's an expensive business to recruit a cybersecurity professional. So it's likely that they would want to tap into some skills, even if only on short term, or potentially upskill an existing member of staff to have some cybersecurity skills.
Multiple different forms of cyber attack, from external to internal. There are attacks driven by financial gain. There's attacks driven by the drive for a competitive advantage, and there's attacks driven in order that, as you say, there could be a utilization of those attacks for a cyber war.
Cyber attacks can target anyone, from small independent businesses to immense international corporations. In the UK, cyber security breaches are one of the biggest threats facing businesses, costing the economy an estimated amount of £6 billion a year. The energy sector is one of the most influential industries. Just think of how every product that we use requires energy to work, from automobiles to buildings and appliances. Should oil and gas companies be concerned about the start of the cyber war? And if so, what can we do to tackle it?
Obviously, the energy industry is a prime target for cybersecurity attacks. Most oil companies and energy companies have already started implementing the necessary programs, to make themselves more resilient.
The energy sector will not be exempt from any kind of cyber attack. It will have impact on any sector. Where the energy sector needs to look at is if they've got critical infrastructure based on their technology, then it's much more lucrative or advantageous for a cyber attacker to target that specific company. So yes, they definitely should be much more conscious about what the impact would be if they didn't have availability of their information, if it was financially held to ransom with a ransomware attack or a malware attack. So there's lots of different reasons that yes, the energy sector should be aware of it.
Absolutely. The energy sector is absolutely a target, and so therefore it's got to have a growing awareness of the fact that we're in a campaign of maintaining protection of our data, of our business operations, and of our operational technology operations as well.
The energy sector, there's so many things that could potentially go wrong. It's not just about physical security now, it's about making sure that our networks and our data and the way that we do things is secure, and everything's done on the computer. So yeah, we've got to be really careful about what we're doing, how we're doing it. We need to think about what the criminals and the bad people are trying to do to us.
I think we've seen this problem grow over the last few years. I think one estimate is that the UK oil and gas is suffering to the tune of some £400 million a year from cyber crime. And I think it's going to get worse and worse. So it's something we absolutely have to take seriously.
You're probably aware of some of the hacks that have impacted and affected local oil and energy companies. It's having a huge impact, not just on the operating model of an organisation once they've been infiltrated. The shareholder confidence goes down massively because it makes the company vulnerable. Then obviously you've got to look at how the reputation of that organisation is affected. So, the threat of a cyber attack isn't just about the data breach or the loss of integrity or the loss of operation. It's the impact on the organisation.
The most recent one was the 20th of July. That was the Enermec malware attack. And it was substantial. Staff couldn't do their job, which might then have had an impact then on the supply chain for Enermec, other clients. So it's got a huge impact on them, and I think there's 3,500 staff in that organisation alone, and they all get sent home. That's massive. That's a huge consequence.
Hacking goes back a long way. It goes way back to the 1960s, and it was basically people using technology and trying to change it to make it work better. One of the first hacks was done just to prove a point, to prove that it could be done. But over time, people have realised that there's potentially money to be made in that. So what we're seeing now is we're seeing the vast majority of cyber attacks are committed by organised crime gangs. So it used to be the best way to steal lots of money would be to hold up a bank with a balaclava over your head, but there's a risk to that you might get caught. You might, especially if you're armed, you might get shot and injured. Whereas if you can do it from behind a computer screen, you can steal more money than you could possibly even carry out of the banks.
I'll hazard I can do more damage on my laptop sitting in my pyjamas before my first cup of Earl Grey than you can do in a year in the field.
95% of the cyber security breaches are caused through phishing email attacks, and they're really sophisticated now. What the cyber attacks are looking like are very plausible. They're very authentic looking.
The one thing that definitely needs to change, and again, I won't say just the energy sector, but in business in general, is the awareness of the threat to the last line of defense, as we call it, which is your workforce. Those people that sit in front of the operating systems, the laptops, the desktops, that use iPads, anyone that represents an organization and has access to the internet is the vulnerable target.
It's not just about shiny bits of tin. It's not just about technology. It's absolutely about ensuring that our people are well prepared, that our people are aware of the threat and know what to do to identify it.
So the education and awareness is something that really needs to be addressed. And unfortunately, in most cases, companies are still playing the catch-up.
We need young people coming through and entering this business really quickly. But the challenge for them and the challenge for industry and the challenge for the academic institutions is how you give them industry experience very quickly.
So at RGU, we offer a number of cybersecurity degrees. So we have our full 4-year undergrad cybersecurity degree with a placement opportunity in the middle, a postgraduate degree. So that is a 1-year master's degree, typically aimed at people who may have completed an existing undergrad degree in maybe an engineering or other technical subject. So it gives them a chance to convert their skills into something cybersecurity. Based on my industry experience and the range of skills we have in the staff, we're quite keen to embed practical skills in our students. So we'll try to expose them to real-world equipment, such as Cisco networking equipment, Windows servers, other kind of firewall technologies, things like that. So we try and give them these practical skills that they can relate to industry when they go out and hopefully get careers in the future.
The Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sport highlighted that 4 in 10 businesses and 2 in 10 charities experienced a cybersecurity breach in 2018. The data also revealed that only 27% of businesses and 21% of charities had a formal cybersecurity policy. It could be affirmed that any industry sector should be prepared for the start of the hypothetical cyber war. After all, it's only a matter of time until it's